All right, so I'm Victoria Torf, and I'm the instructor for this class, Media Design, Graphic Design 110. And over by the printer, John, this is John Lemon, who also teaches the class with me. And we've been teaching it, actually, I don't know how old this class is. This is maybe a 7-year-old class, perhaps. Could be about 7 years old. And what you saw me just do here is screen record it. We screen record the class every time, and then we post it. So if there's something that we cover in class, you'll be able to refer back to it, because I'll do some demos and you might want to be able to refer to that, or you might have some questions or some information that you missed. So we try to make all the resources available to you all the time. Let's see, media design. Well, I'll tell you about me first. I'm an adjunct faculty here, which means that I work part-time, and this class has been around for about 7 years. It actually became the capstone class to the graphic design program. So if you want a certificate in graphic design, this was the final course that you needed for it. And I created this class 7 years ago. Kind of closed my eyes. There are certain criteria for this class that I needed to accomplish and objectives, but I thought if I could dream up a class that I really wanted, what would it look like? And it kind of looks like this class. So I definitely have a bias and a love and a passion for the class. And by the end of the class, you will be breathless, exhausted, depleted, and filled up to the brim all at the same time, okay? Which is all kind of cool, right? It's kind of like running a marathon and being successful at the end. So I work full-time as a graphic artist. I've had a graphic design business for, I'm kind of getting into saying this, I've had a graphic design business for decades, plural, which is true. I started my own graphic design business many years ago, and that's what I do full-time, and I have clients, so I'm a working designer. And because I'm here part-time, if you want to get a hold of me, you should email me. And on the home page, which I'll get to later, you can email me at victoria@victoriatorf.com. And that's where I'll respond to your emails more rapidly. I'm not always logged into Pipeline. So if you have a question or want to get a hold of me, email me there. Make sure to put the class name in the subject line, because you're going to end up going to my spam account. So let me know who you are, and that way I'll make sure that you're flagged and I'll be able to see your email. Media design is a beginning class. How many people in this class are familiar with any software like InDesign? Who knows InDesign? Raise your hand super high. Who knows Photoshop? Illustrator? Illustrator? You love it? Illustrator? Acrobat Professional? Okay, so it's funny, I'm looking at some faces in here and I see students who have seemingly been through so many of the classes already in the program. So is there anybody who's never worked in Adobe products? Adobe. Okay, no worries. I'm sorry? You're a Brooks transfer? Brooks doesn't use computers?
Yeah, I was in a photography program, so I switched to completely majors.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was in a photography program, so I switched completely majors.
So you are switching to become a graphic design major? Multimedia. And you were a photographer, so did you use Photoshop?
Yeah, I did advanced Photoshop for fashion pictures.
Okay, so you know Photoshop. That's great. And you've never used any of the softwares. So you're going, I can't believe I'm in a class of 35 people and I'm the only one who doesn't know what the heck I'm doing. You're not the only one?
No.
You haven't used Adobe either?
Just a little bit, and it was like in 2004.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you were like 5, right? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yes.
I'm in the same boat. I can't really say I'm familiar, but I have. Like, it was about 2005 that I worked in those things. So.
Okay. No worries. No worries. And have you used Adobe software? Not at all? Not at all. Okay. And I want to emphasize this is a beginning class. But the interesting thing about this class is since you're sitting here with me, looking around the room, realizing that there's people, tell me your name again? Eleonora. So Eleonora says, I've never used Adobe software, but the truth is she said I did advanced Photoshop. Well, that sounds like Adobe software. Oh, sorry. You did. Tell me your name. Susanna. Lauren, we got a chair for you. Hi. Come on up. All right, so you can tell that the spectrum of skills in this class is vast. And because it's a beginning class, it's designed to challenge everybody, even if you have advanced Photoshop. And notice that each of you has a different aspect, Michael?
Yes.
Michael said that he loves Illustrator. Is that what you said?
No, I said I've used it, but I don't know if I particularly love it.
Oh, you will love it. Trust me. You will come to love it.
Well, I'm taking the 112. That's the Illustrator.
That's okay. Nothing's better than this.
I know. I'm so glad I'm here.
Good. Good. So my point is that although it's a beginning class, it will challenge each of you. There is a path to success in this class for each of you that will be unique for each of you. But there's specific criteria that you need to accomplish, each of you, in order to be successful in the class. Okay, and we're going to go over all of that. So let me see if I can turn off the lights so you can see the screen behind me. Is there anybody in here who's not familiar with how to access Moodle? Okay, so let me show you. Because you're enrolled in the class, you access Moodle through a pipeline account. When you're in the School of Media Arts, the computer screen, this is the home page. But what you need to do is get to the home page for Santa Barbara City College. And when you get actually to the home page for Santa Barbara City College, there'll be something called Pipeline, and you click on it. And then you log in, and nobody else needs to get on their computer right now. So you won't fall behind. I'm just going to give you an overview. So let me try that again. I obviously can't talk and type at the same time. So you log in. There you go. You log in to Pipeline, and it'll bring you to a home page. And I think on the right side of your screen, oh, this is not a good thing. On the right side of your screen, it should say log into Moodle. And I'm wondering if they removed it because they were having so much trouble with Moodle that they shut it down.
I got in, but it's just really
No, there's no class access for me as an instructor. I get teach. Oh, here it is. So there you go. I thought it was on the home page, but maybe I misremember. So you log into Moodle that way. And what's your name? Ingrid's right. You click on Class tab for you to access Moodle. And because you're enrolled in the class, when you access Moodle, you're going to come to a home page that looks like this. And it's so slow, I hate climbing out of this page, but we'll never get back in.
The servers just started today. So
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. And
ours wasn't even up last semester for like.
all right, so I'm stopping it. You're going to come to a page that's going to say Graphic Design 110, that header, and I want you to click on that header. What I'd like to tell you about this class, that when you log into Moodle and you see the name Graphic Design, you're going to see every assignment for the class listed. And there's a specific reason for that. I want you to understand that every assignment is available to you today, which means you can take out your iPhone today, open up the calendar, and put every due date, upload date into your calendar with an alarm that goes off a couple days before that says, don't forget to do the work because Vicki is not nice and she will not let you submit late work. If it's not uploaded to Moodle as a PDF file for Vicki, she won't grade it. She will give you a 0. You can talk to her and say, I'm so sorry. I went skiing the weekend and I just forgot. And Vicki would say, I hope you had the best time skiing. I'm so sorry you missed the assignment. Okay? Which means stay on target for the class. Yes,
I have
Michael.
one question. What if something happened like a couple of weeks in advance, and you knew that something like you had to go out of town on a business trip, or there was something really specific. Hey, I'm not going to be able to
Upload early.
Upload early.
You know today, if you're going out of town
okay.
in April,
you take a laptop with you. You could do it on the road.
yeah, can.
Yeah, I've had online courses before. Sometimes things do happen, but we know.
Nothing
You're
ever.
not forgiving.
Right, I am not forgetting.
You're not
I
forgiving.
already just said that to you. I am not forgetting. At the end of the semester, last semester, I had a student, so I will talk to you about this. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. But at the end of the semester, the last week of class, you have a final portfolio you submit to the class. It's digital. And actually, Michael can help me with this, right? You're smiling. Am I forgiving, right? No. Michael likes me, right? But I'm not forgiving.
Well, in the real world, it's not that.
Yeah, right. Not that forgiving. I did have a student at the end of the semester last semester, and my heart broke for him, truly. He traveled home for Thanksgiving and fell asleep on the train. He took the train to San Diego, fell asleep on the train, had his backpack up, stored right above him, fell asleep. Somebody left the train with his backpack, with his laptop, with his work, and it wasn't backed up. And so I'm going to talk to you about different ways to back up your work for this class and so forth, but I also want to make you aware that everything is available to you online. We are videotaping this class. John, by the end of class, or by at least tomorrow, will have uploaded everything that got discussed today, so you can grab whatever it is you may have missed because I talked too fast or something like that. Okay? So media design class, let's talk about how media design works. Here's the home page for media design. Over on the right side of the screen, here's my email, victoria@victoriatorf.com. Feel free to email me. You can always Skype me, Victoria Torf, where you want to chat. You've got a quick question, you want to grab me. If my Skype's open, I welcome it. You're welcome to contact me. I don't have office hours because I'm adjunct faculty, but you can certainly set up an appointment with me anytime you want. If you need to call me because you're in a panic, you can always do that. You just go to my website, get my phone number. I'm about as accessible as can be. Just don't call me too late. I get up at 5 a.m. to get to this class. So last night somebody called me at 2 a.m. I know, I was asleep, and I didn't go back to sleep. So I've already had a whole day.
Where are you driving from?
No, I wasn't driving. I was sleeping.
No, but you get up at 5 o'clock to get to this class.
Oh, I drive from Ventura.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I do. I drive from Ventura. Yes, I do. I drive, and that's not that far, but I just get up early. Okay, how media design works. Let's see if it'll get us to that page. As it's spooling, I'll tell you about it. I do know how everything works, but okay. So media design, there will be lectures every week. Media design is this. Media design is a class that is designed to be an overview of Adobe Creative Suite. So that means in media design, you're going to learn to work in Adobe InDesign, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Acrobat Professional, Adobe Acrobat Professional. The end of the class, you're going to take all of the assignments that you work on, all the projects you work on through the class, and you're going to create a digital portfolio. And you're going to create that digital portfolio through InDesign and make it interactive, which is essentially, without creating a web page, without working in Dreamweaver, only working in the softwares I just listed, you're going to create an interactive portfolio of all the work you did. And that interactive portfolio isn't just showing me what you already did, because I already saw it, but it's creating a container, like a website, where you get to express yourself and brand yourself so you have a potential portfolio for a job, or to show your work, or to build on for all the other work that you might choose to do in other classes. But what's required is all of the work for this class. Your portfolio for this class is only complete if it has every assignment in it. So if you miss an assignment throughout the semester because you're with Michael snowboarding, then you need to make sure that you have included that final assignment in your portfolio, because otherwise you have a hole. And I think there's I think there's a total of 9 projects that go in your final portfolio. Doesn't mean there's only 9 projects for the class, but there's 9, I think. Don't quote me, but I think there's 9 projects that go in your final portfolio. So if you've only uploaded 8 throughout the semester and you don't have that 9th one, your portfolio is now missing almost 10% of its value, which means you wouldn't get better than a 90% if it was perfect. Follow that? Okay. So the class is designed with projects, very specific projects with very specific parameters and exercises. The exercises are, look at that, it arrived at the page. Okay, so here's your overview about what media design is about. What you do in media design, let me just start with my quote because I love this quote. The artist is the receptacle for emotions that come from all over the place. From the sky, from the earth, from a scrap of paper, from a passing shape, from the stain on your Starbucks napkin from your spilled latte, to the cracks in the sidewalk as you walk down State Street, to the sunrise in the morning, to the glaring headlights coming out to you when you're driving at night. Inspiration comes from everywhere. And your job in this class is to gather it. Gather what makes sense to you, what's meaningful for you. And you're going to use that inspiration throughout the semester. And so in media design, for this class, yes, I'm going to teach you some skills in InDesign. Yes, I'm going to teach you some skills in Illustrator. Yes to Photoshop, and yes to Acrobat Professional. But we're going to really have to call on your own resources and your own vision, and you're going to have to do a lot of independent work to try to accomplish what you want. Because the way this class works is you have specific projects with specific parameters, but the whole crux of this course is to be able to put a visual voice to your authentic self. And so you say to yourself, well, what do you mean by that? Right? What are you talking about, your authentic self? Well, you have to decide what you're about in the world, what you have to say. Each of you has a totally different place in the world and a different purpose. Some of you are artists by nature, and you express yourself visually. Some of you are good with words. Some of you are eco-extremists, where you are all about saving the planet. Some of you are foodies, where you're all about finding the perfect ingredients to make the perfect meal, to celebrate life with friends with that meal in front of you. Some of you are about finding the cutest pit bull puppy on the face of the earth and naming it Diamond and bringing it to class and taking it on wild adventures as you trek to the top of the mountains and go in search of the perfect waves of the ocean. Each of you have something special that's uniquely you. And each of you have something special that's uniquely you about the way you wish to express yourself. And that's what's about the authentic you. That's what's about you stepping back right now and saying, this is kind of a weird class. I've never had a class have me look at myself and say, what's the authentic me? Well, what is the authentic you? What is it what is the mark you wish to make in the world? What is it you want to put voice to? Why do you want to be a visual artist? Why do you want to be a communicator? What is it you wish to market? If you're a business person and you own, anybody a business person in here who just wants to learn graphics? So let's say you're a business person and you are all about the money, okay? And your voice in the world is that you want to have financial success at what you do. Well, that's fine. That's the authentic you. That's valid. So then you think, how am I going to be able to express that? How am I going to be able to achieve that? And how can I use graphic media to accomplish that? And so all the resources, so if you're on the computer, I'd love for you to stop, please. All the resources that are out there in all the software I listed are the vehicles to help you visually communicate what it is you want to say. So you're going to have various projects within these parameters, and you're going to have to say, for the 16 weeks in front of me, what do I wish to communicate? What do I wish to make my portfolio about? If I want to go to graphic design school, what do I want my portfolio to look like to apply to graphic design school? If I want to get business as a graphic artist, what do I want my portfolio to speak of? Don't point to a portfolio and say, well, this was an assignment 4, I don't really like it. What you do is you make a portfolio that every piece you put there makes you proud. When you have clients who hire you, of course they have parameters and containers that you have to stay within to do a project. So be it. For this class, we'll have specific parameters. But you might want to think about what you wish to authentically communicate. And we'll continue to talk about that. So how we consider communication in this class, we focus on basic factors. We learn software applications, which are skills. But we learn about graphic design elements and graphic design principles, such as color and alignment and balance and hierarchy and motion and typography. And we consider, hi, we got worried about you. I think we have a little stool right here, I hate to say. That's what happens when you arrive late. So we use the graphic design elements and the graphic design principles to consider how we create our visuals. And we'll start to look at them and learn about them throughout the semester. So we will have lectures on the graphic design elements and the graphic design principles. There is not a required textbook, but there is one on the syllabus I'll show you, which is about two-dimensional design. But any book that's out there on graphic design, any book that's out there on visuals, any book that's out there that gets you excited about design and graphics, grab it, read it, pore over it, look at the pictures, assess it, think what resonates with you. The resources are unlimited, so I didn't want to limit you to a textbook. And your skills are so vast that I didn't want to pigeonhole you into a beginner's illustrator or a beginner's this, because what you all need to do is cover all of the softwares. So by the time you leave class, you can say to somebody, yeah, I've worked in InDesign, yeah, I've worked in, so you know that you've got a vast array of skills for what you need to move into and a little taste of everything. The other thing that is imperative, that is mandatory for you, is that you need to keep a visual journal, which means you need to buy a notebook that has no lines on it, that has blank pages, along with markers and colored pencils and writing utensils, so you keep a stream of consciousness visual journal. And if I get kickback from anybody in this class, it's always over the visual journal. Because everybody's like, I don't need to sketch out my ideas. I don't need to brainstorm. Except for Lauren, who's exceptional at her journal. She's so excited. She loves journaling. Journaling is amazing. Journaling is amazing. Journaling lets you take a thought and put it down. Lets you, while you're spilling your latte at Starbucks, lets you take the napkin that you doodle on and glue it into something so you don't lose it, right?
So in a way, it's kind of like a sketchbook.
It's very much like a sketchbook. Yes.
Okay. But you want it to be in a small, kind of like journalish style, not like a big one, right?
Big's good. Love big. Big's great. You're going to have to scan your journal, each page. You submit it as 10% of the grade of your assignment. So if you think you're off the hook on the journal and you don't submit any journaling, no problem, but that means you'll never get better than a 90% even if it's perfect.
So how do you scan it, like?
With a scanner?
No, I mean like,
You've opened the page and you've put it.
Probably like, what I'm trying to say, like, do we go to the writing center or like somewhere that has a scanner? I mean,
We have a scanner right here and right in the back of the room.
Okay.
Do you have a phone?
Huh?
Do you have a phone?
Yeah.
Does it have a camera on it?
Yeah.
You could do that too. You could take a picture of it.
Okay.
Okay?
And again, sorry for the stupid question.
It was not a stupid question at all. It was a perfect question. If you don't own a scanner, there are many ways to capture your ideas in your journal. Because most people say, I don't have a scanner. And the answer is, do you have a phone? Take a picture of it. Email it to yourself, the picture. If you have a computer with a, do you have a computer at home?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have a computer at home and it has a video camera in it, you hold it up in front of your video camera. If it's a Mac, it's photo booth. Click photo booth, flip the thing, and you've got a picture of it. So, pardon me?
iPads do the same thing.
iPads do the same thing. So, and there are never stupid questions in my class, ever. I ask the stupidest questions of all, so trust me, I'm at the top of the class for that. Yeah, and thank you. Alberto said there's scanners in the DAC lab. Across from us, we're in what's called the Digital Arts Center, and across from us, through those glass doors, there are computers for you to use, and they have scanners there too. And if you're not familiar with how to scan, we'll do it together in class. So, no problem. It's all about learning. That's why it's beginning class. I've had students who've never even turned on a computer before in this class, and somehow they survived. So, Michael.
So it's a blank paper, an 8.5, but it's blank, no lines on it?
No lines. Lines are distracting, and I think they're inhibiting. And I don't care if you have a big sketchbook, no problem. The only problem, and I'm not crazy about little sketchbooks like Alberto showed. Hold it up. That's a little small. When you start doing stuff, it's a little small, but it's okay. I mean, my preference is around 8.5 by 11, only because when you lay it on a scanner, if it's 16 by 20, it's too big for the page. And if it's too big, you know, one of the nice things about what Alberto does have is it can go in his back pocket and it goes everywhere, and he always has it. And I would much rather you find something that's always with your reach than something that's unwieldy that you never take anywhere. All right, that's my preference. Don't do it on scrap papers. And I also want to tell you about students who inevitably do all their sketching after they've finished the project, and then they quickly sketch what their project was. What's your name? What's your name? Right behind you. Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. David. I love watching your face because you're right with me. You're like, I can just sketch after I'm all done. I don't like that sketching stuff, right? And the truth is, I know. Students look at me and they go, how'd you know I sketched when I was all done? Because there's a weird stream of consciousness that flows in sketching and thumbnailing. Am I right?
Yeah.
That just takes you to places that you don't expect, and then you land somewhere totally different. But the idea of thumbnailing, brainstorming, some of you are good at drawing, some of you aren't. I have a page on journaling here. Since I'm on it, let me go back to the home page. For the class. Hang on, let me just get to my little journal page here. Journal, so you can visualize what a journal. There. Your journals can look like anything. They don't have to be anything very predictable. They can be however it is you think. They can be word associations. They can be journaling your thoughts. They can be gathering resources from other publications. You can take a whole bunch of photos and stick them in there. Just so you trigger your creativity and you start to have a container to do your brainstorming. And once you get into the rhythm of it, I truly got vindicated, which was I had one student, I must have put the quote here. Maybe it's up above. No.
Journaling is a record.
No, it was, you'll see it, it'll show up. It was one student who hated journaling. And by the end of the semester, he actually wrote in what's called his narrative, which we'll talk about in a minute. He wrote, you know, I journaled through this whole process, and where I used to hate to journal, I can't believe what came out of my journaling, and now I understand how it helps you arrive at, you know. He was far more eloquent than I was, but the point was, it was like, yes, he likes journaling now, yes. Okay, Lauren, you had a question?
I have a question.
You had a question. Ingrid.
It's Therese, but
Therese.
yeah, but Ingrid's is listed first in my
Well, I can call you Therese.
Thank you.
That's no problem. You need to be added though, right?
No, I'm already.
So here you are, Therese. How do you spell Therese?
Yeah.
How'd I know that, right?
Yeah, that's.
That was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What if you start working on something in your journal and you end up hating it and you don't want it at all? You still want us to keep it in there?
Okay, so I bet in the back of the room you didn't hear the question, did you? So my friend who's in the way back who used to be up here, what's your name? Nick. Did you hear it? No? Okay, so Teresa's question was, what happens if you start journaling and you go on this little road and then by the time you're all done you hate that idea and the project you do is totally different than your journal? Did I get the question right?
Or if you just think it's crap.
Or if you think it's, to use Teresa's word, crap.
Should I keep everything I put in the journal? Or
Should she keep everything she puts in the journal? The answer is yes. It's all about the journey, folks. Your entire process as you move through your thinking is all about how you arrive. And sometimes you might think it's, to use your term, crap. You might not like what your result is, but you'll still share it with a class, even if you don't like it, because then we'll help you figure out how to elevate it so it feels more authentic to you. It's a learning process. So it's just putting out there the best of what you can do with what's required and then learn how to improve it. So yes, you keep it all in there. You put it all in there. It's all part of your effort and your energy. And that is where you're successful in the class. Your effort, your energy, your thinking, your processing, your gathering of ideas, and your refining of those ideas is what's all about the class. Yes. Tell me your name again.
I'm Sherry.
Sure.
I'm not very good at drawing at all. How much is too much scrapbook type things like
I don't know.
cutouts?
You'll figure it
or-
out. Nothing's
Okay, you're
too
not
much.
gonna
It's
do,
your
like,
journal.
Everything's stapled in.
It's your journal.
Okay.
I want you to try sketching because the reality is in this class you're going to end up doing original artwork, which will shock you. It will. You'll get there. You don't have to if it's terrifying, but you will learn to make things your own.
Okay.
You will. Tell me your name again. I keep forgetting. Chris.
Will there be a limit to what we do on the journal, or
No. Never a limit.
Yeah, okay.
Just go at it.
Yeah, okay.
Michael.
You're talking about the colored writing utensils, or like colored Sharpies, okay too?
Love it. Whatever you love working with.
Okay,
So
so it's a
we-
preference.
So pretty much we could work either pencils or pastels, etc.
Whatever makes you happy. Any color material you'd like. Color, black and white. Whatever resources feel good for you.
Okay, but you don't want us to go using a pencil and doing it black and white, right?
You can. You can do it black and white too.
Pretty much whatever you want.
You have liberties. Some students are in this class because they're artists. How many students in here are fine artists?
None.
Okay. And what I find, how many students in here are graffiti artists? How many students are graffiti artists and won't admit it? Okay, so there's many students have different ways of expressing themselves. And sometimes I have students who are fine artists who end up doing fine art. And the idea for this class is you start journaling. And you start journaling for all these 15 reasons that I'm going to let you read on your own. Okay? Which I don't need to read for you. But there are phenomenal advantages to doing it. And one of the things I will tell you is, so 100,000 years ago, I was in fine art school. And I had only one professor have us keep a journal, which to me today is a terrible disappointment for my art school. And the reason it's a disappointment is, to tell you the truth, I remember the journal I kept, I still have it, and I actually came up with brilliant ideas. And why I'm saying it like that, with all good humor, to tell you the truth, is I was surprised at my weird brainstorming, my naive, 17 to 20-year-old naive brainstorming, was I wrote down anything because it was no holds barred. And later, not but a few years after that, people had made products exactly like the prototypes I had drawn in my journals. Did that happen to you? It's really amazing. And so what it did for me actually is it said, look at what I put down on paper. Look at how my thinking, I'm okay. I'm on the right track. My ideas are good ideas, even if they didn't seem feasible to me at 17 or however old I was. But it was wonderful. And I find also if you journal for a project in an idea that you might not like for the specific project, you might find that it triggers something for future projects. I design logos for clients, and I design a multitude of logos, and then they hone it down and pick one. And I have lots of different roads I go down to come up with the concepts for the logo. And I find that sometimes I'll go back to those old prototypes, and there's something there that is useful for something else. So journaling is a pretty nifty thing to do. More questions about that? Okay, so where this came from was we were talking about how the class works. So this is the home page here. Let me view it as a student. These are, one thing you do need to know about this class is click on everything. If it looks like static type, click on it anyway. Even this, it looks like a headline. It's click on it. There's videos telling you here what I'm actually telling you. Like if you click on this, there's 4 videos walking you through the process of the class, how it works, and the concept. Here's something about me. Those of you who have had a class by me before, let's see, I don't know if Alberto knows this from the previous class. Michael might remember my greatest weakness. What's my greatest weakness, Michael? Do you remember? Julia remembers. Yeah. Did you hear her say that kind of timidly? Like, I'm not sure if that's really your greatest weakness, Vicki, but but I think it is. I think it is. I'm musically challenged. I am so musically challenged. So I welcome new CD mixes. Miriam, you gave me a new CD mix, didn't you?
I did.
You did. Crystal did. See? So give me new CD mixes. I need music in my life. I need to open my eyes and expand it. So that would be wonderful. And you're a songwriter. Beautiful. That's wonderful. So good. You can help me out a lot. That would be good. Here's everything you want to know about me. You can click on it yourself and read through it if you're interested. Here's a Q&A. If you have a question for the class and you want to post it, this is a forum, question and answer forum. So most of you know how this all works. It's similar to every forum in the world. Like Facebook, you add a discussion topic. You type what your question title is here.
I can't see, it's too low.
It's too low on the screen. You type your question. Susie, can you see it? No?
Not too well, but
A little. But you know what it looks like from previously, right? Okay. And so you type your question, and then you hit post to forum, or if you want to upload a graphic because you might have run into a corner with some graphics you're working on and you want to post an image and ask a question about it, you would browse your desktop just like you do in Facebook for photos, right? Browse your desktop and then post to the forum. And I suggest that's where you ask your questions so one of the students who are online can help support you when you're not in class. Tell me your name.
Miranda,
Miranda.
do we have a weekly forum that we need to be posting?
No, you don't have any weekly requirements about a forum. Because we're a face-to-face class, you absolutely have requirements for showing up.
I just check.
No, it's worth asking. This class is very interactive. As quiet as you are now, you're going to have a lot of dialogue with one another and a lot of sharing. And you're going to get exhausted. I always think that our lectures are going to be over in like a minute and the class disappears, right? It's kind of the way I operate. So now let's see. Let's see. If you wish to create a cohesive portfolio, again, click on everything. If that looks like a blank page, it's not. Click, and you'll find something else. You'll find a web link to it. So let's talk about the work we do in this class. The class, like I said, is going to have projects. So each project is going to have specific parameters. For example, this project was make a color poster and use one word. And it was about actually a famous person, place, or thing, and you had to have 2 color palettes. So you essentially created the same poster under 2 color palettes. And the purpose for that project, as an example, would be because I want you to learn a software, and then I want you to learn how to manipulate the software to create different colors. So not only are you learning an application and how to work with color in the application, but you're also learning the impact of how color changes the same identical message. Because if you take the poster called Saucy and you shift it, can you see it where you are back there? And you shift it, and the poster were made with green tones, right? Might have 2 messages. It might have one that the food's all rotten, might have messages that the food's all made out of jalapenos, right? You know, it could be all kinds of things. So again, it's working with the software. So it's like I said, if you're, when you think about this class, you're going to be working with these various projects, and you're going to end up with a portfolio. So I suggest now, today, day 1, that you start to really focus on what you're about. What's the authentic you? So Therese is a songwriter, so maybe she's all about the music. And Lauren's a visual artist who uses words and graphics to make things elevated. I don't know if she has a specific niche. And Julia's all about, what are you all about?
Fine art.
She's about fine art. She's beautiful fine art. And you might, so for example, somebody might be, like I said, you know, about the world and saving the world. And so all their projects with all their different parameters, these all have a universal theme, which is about the earth and preserving nature. Or this student, the one who's created the poster Saucy, her portfolio is all about foods. She picked that poster because she says every time she cooked something, her boyfriend would put sauce on it. So she wanted a poster that she could actually put in her house that was appropriate for them. It was authentic to her. And it was a 4-foot-long banner made out of vinyl with grommets in it that hung. So in this class, what you'll also come to learn is presentation is everything. How you present your finished product, your final work, needs to be professional. Never put anything up on that wall when we have discussions that you apologize for. Just don't. So give it your best shot, right? And know that you've presented it with as much refinement and polish as you possibly can. This student down below here, she's all about the coffee. She's all, you probably can't see that very well, but she had this really clever idea. She made a publication, and hers was all about the coffee. So here's a coffee cup, and she wrote chaotic, you can't see it, chaotic, creativity, GDP 110, which was a class, the year, and I can't read that. Can you read that? No, I can't read it. But anyway, and then she stuck pens and markers through the cup, the paper cup, and then she poured coffee in it and let the water spill out and then photographed it, right? And then she made a book, and in her book, she, instead of using type, like typing on the computer in InDesign a headline, she took coffee beans and lined them up and spelled words with it. Or she took raw sugar packets and poured out the raw sugar and spilled it down, and then with her finger wrote a word and photographed it. So the idea here is, yes, we have beautiful computer applications to help us create a visual message, but how do we do it where we make somebody stop and look twice? How do we do it where we get them engaged with what it is we're communicating? We're visual artists. We want people to stop and see in here and in here what we're communicating. It's your job to find the way to use graphic design elements like color and layout and balance in order to communicate your message effectively. So as you start to slide your way into the beginning of the semester, think about what orientation you want your projects to take on. So you have, at the end of the year, a portfolio that's very authentic to you. So you don't point to it and say, well, my teacher made me do a drawing on birds, right? You don't want that. But where you point to the portfolio and say, this is important, this is my voice, this is what I have to say. So let's keep looking through here and see where we're at. I wonder if anybody ever clicks on this. Laura, do you want to read it really loud for everybody?
Nothing is original. Steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination. Devour old films, new films, music, books, paintings, photographs, poems, dreams, random conversations, architecture, bridges, street signs, trees, clouds, bodies of water, light and shadows. Select only things to steal from that speak directly to your soul. If you do this, your work and theft will be authentic. Authenticity is invaluable, originality is non-existent, and don't bother concealing your thievery. Celebrate it if you feel like it. In any case, always remember what Jean-Luc Godard said. It's not where you take things from, it's where you take them to. Jim Jarmusch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love that. I think I saw that quote somewhere. I don't know. I stole it. And it spoke to me. It said, yes, you know, we think that we have to be so original. Well, my God, there's generations of beautifully original people before us. So if we know that we're always speaking from here, what's authentic to us, then, you know, we're on video here. I realize I should say pointing to her heart. But, you know, if you're always speaking from here, from your authentic self, from your core, from what's important to you, then it will come out. It'll resonate. Always try and work from that. And I'll talk a lot about stealing in this class because a lot of you, I find, will be very intimidated by creating artwork. So you'll end up stealing it. And when you steal it, I want to teach you how to steal it so you end up recognizing you're stealing it, okay? Knowing what the boundaries are for that. Because mostly these are still just school projects. So when you're stealing it, it's to learn a skill for a school project, okay? But how to make it original and authentic and use the software applications that you have at your fingertips in order to make your presentation, your layout, your graphic composition authentic to you. And we'll get along. We'll do that throughout the semester. Let's talk about the syllabus. As I said, the goal of the class is to teach you to think visually, critically, and creatively. The goal of the class is also to help you know how to recognize graphic design principles, such as composition, balance, visual hierarchy, rhythm, and unity. We'll talk about your layouts that you've created and how you considered applying those principles. And also graphic design elements like format, like that's a format compared to that format. These are both eyeglass cases, but they have different formats to accomplish different things. This is, can I use your spiral notebook? This is a vehicle to communicate words. This is a vehicle to communicate words, kind of different formats. Yeah, they're paper, but that's bound, and that's got lines, and it's that thick, and these are loose and stapled. So format, or how you apply line or shape or color or texture or pattern, and use typography in order to create these visuals. You might not always use all the elements. You probably will, but there might be some that might have greater emphasis than others. All of your work is going to be submitted to Moodle. It's going to be uploaded to Moodle. It's going to be uploaded to Moodle as a PDF file. Who doesn't know what a PDF file is? PDF, you know? Everybody knows? Okay. Everything gets uploaded as a PDF file to Moodle so I can grade it. You have what's called studio projects, which are those 9 projects I described to you, or you'll come to know. And then you have something called exercises in the class. Exercises are kind of what I call do or die. They should take 5 minutes. Some of them probably take, I don't know. How long do they take, Michael? Half hour? At most. They're really going to be like 5-minute exercises. And they're do or die because you're either going to get 100% or you're going to get 0. There's no gray areas. It's a task. You learn the task. You complete the task. You upload the task. And you get 100% because you did the task right. Right? It's an exercise. And the purpose of it is to teach you a skill in the software. One of the things I always appreciate is student feedback. And at the end of one of the semesters, I sat with my students and said, how can I make this class better? And they said, well, it'd be really great if you gave us like skill builders so we had a little more direction. And I didn't want them to take too much time, so I set them up so they're kind of a little training you can do on your own. I don't need to demo them. I'll show them to you. You'll see. And you could start them all today. You could get them all done this week and not worry about them for the whole semester because they're always available to you, just like all your assignments. You could work ahead. You could. And if you're not familiar with the software, the exercises are the best ways to get your feet wet. They are. They really are. And for the most part, some things are, anything unfamiliar is intimidating. But for the most part, most students really love the exercises. It gets them there really quickly. I'll show you. And then 10% of the class is your participation, your discussions. There are 2 writing assignments for this class that are part of the participation and discussions. I consider the writing assignments, those are probably the most heavily weighted. And again, as you probably are getting the idea, you're going to write from here, right? And those are 2 writing assignments for the class. And then we have critiques in the class for all of our projects. So your attendance in this class is imperative. You make the class. You help support one another. You give feedback to one another. How you perceive and support, how you perceive another person's work and how you communicate with them about it helps them. And so we will have class critiques at the completion of each project. We'll bring a printed a printed layout of your work and we'll put it up on the wall and we'll critique them as a class.
Are the exercises things that you're doing in class, or these are like homework?
Exercises, homework.
Okay.
I must tell you that almost all of the work is done outside of the class. I will also tell you that this class is incredibly hard and it's incredibly time consuming and you can't fall behind on it. And most students, just because we are who we are, will wait till midnight knowing that at 10:30 the next day a project's due. And then they'll start it and they'll pull an all-nighter and they'll come in here all wiped out. And it's not going to be enough time to complete most projects. So what I'm telling you is you're going to have to get a very well-planned jump start on your projects. And for most projects, you have a week period of time to complete them in. And some projects, which I think are larger, you'll have a couple weeks to complete them in. So you can start on one and keep working on it throughout the week. And most of the work is done outside. What I end up doing is I'll lecture about what I said, the graphic design principles and the graphic design elements. And then I'll demo things. And if you come in and we've started a project, for example, I'll give you examples of projects in a minute. If you come in with your sketchbook and you have great concepts, but you have no clue how to execute it digitally, you hand me your sketchbook, you say, help us, and up in front of class, we'll build a project together. So we learn skills. So you'll have things to refer to. And you're going to put me on the hot seat because you're going to say, here's my sketches. What the heck do I do now? And I'm just going to have to wing it because you're going to have to wing it. I may as well have to wing it. And hopefully we'll come up by using some of the skills we learn. And that's why each of you is so important. Each of you has different skills than another. Each of you has a different orientation for what you get a thrill out of. So you can show people your new tricks
So we have access to that lab. Do we have access to this as well?
No.
And if so, what hours is the other
The
lab?
DAC lab,
It's like 7 a.m. to like
the
6.
DAC lab,
Is it
right
very-
here.
It's open pretty much every day.
Is it very
DAC lab.
convenient?
Let's see. DAC lab. Here we go. 10 to 7.
Oh, okay. I had mine.
And it doesn't open until February 4th unless you are a student of Victoria Torf. Because if you're a student of Victoria Torf, you say, I'm Victoria Torf's student. She wrote me out this little slip and signed it and said, can I please work in the DAC lab because I don't have software on my computer, and you can use the DAC lab. Generally, they have no problem with that.
Why wouldn't you let us use it otherwise?
Because it's not open. They don't have people to support you in the DAC lab. It just gives you a computer, but there's no support for you in the DAC lab. It's not open until February 4th.
Oh.
See?
Oh,
They
okay.
wait a couple weeks into class before they open it up.
Would it be beneficial for us to buy the Adobe software we're going to be using? Though?
Oh, you're so smart. You're right on my next topic, which
Okay.
is software. Right there. It's just scroll on up, right? Software. So you're going to be working in, this is old, I need to update it. You're going to be working in Adobe Creative Suite 6.
Yay.
Photoshop Creative Suite 6, Illustrator 6, InDesign 6.
Now the Creative Suite comes with everything in it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Master Suite. Then.
We'll talk about that too. Okay, so I see you, Susie. You want to hang tight a minute?
Sure. I just wondered if Acrobat Professional was part of that.
It is.
Okay.
It is. So my recommendation for you is this. The DAC lab is open limited hours, 10 to 7, which you're probably in class if you're on campus. And the truth is this class is super time consuming, super hard, and requires a huge amount of hours. I would say that my students tell me they work 20 to 40 to 60 hours at least on a project. Because if you're into it, you're going to be really into it. If it's your work and you're excited about what you're doing, you're going to get deep into it. And then you have to assess to yourself, will I be able to accomplish what I need to if I'm using the DAC lab, or do I want the software on my computer at home? Here's what you can do about the software. How many people do not have Adobe Creative Suite on their computers? Okay. Go high. I can't see that. All right. If you don't have Adobe Creative Suite on your computers, there's a variety of alternatives for you, or ways you can handle this. You can buy Adobe Creative Suite. So right now, let's do this. Let's go to Adobe.
$27.99.
$27.99.
That was I was just looking. That's the.
Well, that's because you're looking at the master collection.
Oh.
Okay, let's have a conversation about this.
They do have it at the bookstore.
We have, like,
So
half of them.
here's the Creative Suite. Yeah, you do have a bunch of
Student
questions.
version.
I have a pizza.
No problem.
Yeah.
I like you anyway.
Couldn't afford it.
All right. All right. So here's my recommendation for you, but it's up to you. There is Adobe Creative Cloud. Adobe Creative Cloud, I believe, for about $20 a month, gives you access to all Adobe software. So you essentially use it off of a cloud server. So you don't have to purchase the software, you're essentially renting the use of it.
Plus, they give you all the beta stuff as well.
There you go. And you get all the beta stuff. Not that I would know the difference.
Well, no stuff because they just came up with it last semester, and I was researching it. So anything new that they came up with that they really haven't made
Goes up there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whatever that would be.
The other thing is you can download a 30-day trial version of any Adobe software
I've done that.
and hang on a second, and work with it and see if you like it. Maybe you're just kind of testing out the class, right? So you can download a 30-day trial version of the software. Oops, we don't want to chat. The other thing is you can go to the student store and buy a student version of the software. If you buy a professional version of, for example, Creative Suite Premium, and in Creative Suite Premium, it comes with most of the software that we're going to be using. Let me find the list down here. There we go. It comes with Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Dreamweaver, which is for web design, Flash, Fireworks, Acrobat Professional, Bridge, which helps you manage your files, and Media Encoder. And retail, that costs about $1,800 professionally. And if you wish to upgrade it, because they come up with new versions of it, an upgrade costs you about $1,200. Okay? As a student, to buy this version for a one-time installation, one computer, it's about $350. And if you buy it at the student store for $350, you'll get all that software. You have to go in the store, go to the right of the glass doors to the desk, the counter there, and you have to ask them for it because they won't give you the one that's not all pretty in a package, but one that they have to log your student ID number and you have to register your student usage, and then you get a one-time installation of that software. And you'll get a hard disk for it.
Where are you talking about?
You go into the student store through the glass doors that open.
And immediately rise.
And in the bookstore, yes, bookstore. And you make an immediate right, and there's a counter right to your right. And you ask them for this software. There's another version which is for a two-person installation. And the two-person installation is really designed, it's not for two people, it's really for two computers. It means, like if you have a laptop, for example, and you have a big hard drive like a CPU, you could install it on one computer and another computer. So you would own two registrations for the software. And that's $100 more. That's about $450, give or take. I can't remember.
People could,
And you said it, I didn't. Did you hear Michael not say that? Right?
I didn't say. Well,
Right.
partner up together.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes.
I don't know if I'm right. I was at Costco and they had some Adobe Creative Suite 11 for only $110. Is that anything similar to what would be used here?
I doubt it.
Okay.
It wouldn't be a professional version at all. You know, one thing about Adobe, they don't discount anything. The student version, you can't upgrade. You don't pay for upgrades. You just buy a new student version of it.
When you buy like I can't even think of those pads that you use with the pens and stuff. They give like scaled down versions of the software.
Yeah.
And that's probably what it is. I don't
Right.
think those would have the
It-
features that
right.
we're going to be using.
You know, something that you're going to buy at Costco for $100 of this software is probably just like what Michael described,
Okay.
something like an abbreviated version of the software, and I wouldn't spend my money on it. What I would do is download the trial versions to get started, make sure you're on target with the class.
If we're working in CS5, should we be okay?
Yes. If you have CS5 on your computers, you'll be fine. CS6 is what is the newest version of the software. Working in CS5 is fine.
Is that what they have in the store?
They have CS6 in the store. When you purchase it, make absolutely 100% sure that you are purchasing it either for a PC or for a Mac, because the software you purchase is specific to your operating system. Okay, don't make a mistake. Used to be you couldn't return it. I think they have a nicer person managing the bookstore now. Is that right?
Well, you go to Adobe.
Yeah.
You talk to the Adobe people and
If you make-
pay a $25 fee for them to send you a new disc.
If you made a mistake.
It gives you a new code.
Yeah.
Because I ordered mine from Amazon. And
You
they
got the wrong
sent
one.
me A PC one, and my order form said Mac.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you had to fight. You had to
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
It took about a 3-hour phone call.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Trust no one.
I'm sure it.
So
No, I'm
pretty
sure.
much.
Right. I mean, I can't tell you how much you have to double check the box. They'll put a sticker on it that says, look, this is for a Mac. Don't open it if you don't have a Mac. And then you have to look at the tiny corner of the box to make sure they stickered the box correctly, because don't open that box unless you know it's the right operating system. The other thing is you can Google the heck out of discounted Adobe Creative Suite software, and you might find it for $100 less than we're talking about. I find, unless I'm going to, if you're a film student, this would not be the software you'd want, because this gives you print and web. There's another version that gives you, and I'm not sure which one it is, there's another version that gives you print and media, production premium. There you are. And this is for if you're a film student, it gives you Premiere, After Effects, and so forth. So you're not, what you don't get with this one is you don't get the print works, which is InDesign, and you're going to need InDesign for this class. And then ultimately, what were you saying, Michael, $2,900 or something?
No, but that was the professional version. The
Right.
student versions are I think are the best, but the only thing is they don't give you the opportunity to do the upgrade.
You don't need to. It's cheaper to
Yeah,
buy
I would
a
just
new
do the
student
I would just
version.
do the student version.
Just do the student versions.
It'll last you for a couple of years, and hopefully
Right.
you'll be making enough money to
Yes.
get the professional.
Yes. So, any questions about the software?
Because I have about half of those, and so would it be logical to buy just the rest instead of just
You
getting all
own
of
half of
them?
those?
I own half of them.
You own what?
Because I have Flash, Photoshop.
You won't use Flash.
Okay, well.
Go ahead.
I have not Dreamweaver, excuse me. I have Lightroom, Bridge, and Illustrator. So I'm missing 3 or 4 of them. That would be using the most.
That's your financial.
Yeah.
That's your financial conversation for yourself.
Okay.
You're going to need InDesign.
Will both of these work well on a Mac or
PC? Absolutely.
so? If I were to get these, would it be good for Mac or PC? I'm just asking.
They work equally.
They work both equally as well on a Mac or a PC. When you purchase the software, make sure the operating system of your computer supports the software. Make sure you have enough memory. My laptop is full. And so last night I was trying to make a little video in Photoshop and I completely ran out of memory and everything just stopped. So make sure that you have what's called enough RAM, random access memory, to run the application, and then enough what's called scratch disk while you're working on a project to keep storing it, and it needs lots of memory to do so. So, yes.
So if I buy the version for the PC and then I'm gonna buy a Mac, I cannot use.
Correct. You cannot use.
Okay.
You need to buy the software application for the operating system you have, which might mean you want, if you're going to buy it in a month, then you get the trial version, or you rent it off the cloud until you get the computer you want to work with.
I have a Windows version. I can sell it to someone for a lot cheaper
Okay.
because they didn't put a sticker on.
They didn't put a sticker. Did you get?
Last year.
I remember that conversation. We talked about
So
that.
I just never. It was like a waste of like $400 and I had to buy the Mac version.
Yes. There you go.
So if anyone wants to buy it, I'll sell it for cheaper.
Does it
Yeah.
maybe give you any consideration? Let's say that, because when you buy, the way it is now, you have to be registered with them, right? So you register, they have your name, and so, you tell them that you want to, switch platforms. Did they give you
I
any-
have no idea, but
Because it
that could
seems
be a
like
good research project for you.
You wanna switch platforms?
Yeah.
I don't, it used to be they didn't like it.
Oh.
So if they do now, they've changed their policy.
Any more questions?
I'm registered to other classes in the arts paper certificate thing. Will this be, if I could go to the bookstore and get that version there, would that be applies for the other classes?
So Teresa's question was, I'm going to be taking other media design classes. What software should I buy? Just know whether you're going to do film or not. If you're going to do film also, if you have an intention of doing film and web and print, you need the master collection for all the software. If you're doing print, then you want Creative's print and web, you would buy this one. You buy Creative Suite Design and Web Premium. If you're doing film and web, you buy this one. If you're doing the whole universe of things, you buy this one.
I just do the classes that's under multimedia arts.
Well, we'll have to look. I don't know it off the top of my head.
They give you a breakdown.
Yeah. Any other questions about the software? Now remember, the DAC Lab has it. These computers have it. You have access to the DAC Lab, but you know the way you guys work. You're probably not going to work between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. for most of your projects. You're going to go to class. You're going to go to your jobs. You're going to eat dinner, and then you're going to sit down and work, which is
Have them at
Like
home.
11 to 3.
'Cause
right.
At 7 o'clock, they want to run you out of there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So in total, you want us to get the one in the middle, and how much does that cost again?
Are you a design major?
No, I'm just curious. Like you told us you buy one of these.
I said you can also rent it for $20 a month on Adobe Creative Cloud, right here.
All the software
right there, Adobe Creative Cloud. So for $20 a month, you can get it. I'm not telling you have to buy it because I don't know what your budget is. You can download a 30-day trial version of any of the software that you're going to use. And if you wish to buy it at the student store, it's about $350 to buy the Creative Suite Premium. Okay?
But will you expect us to use these programs later on?
You must use these programs. I absolutely expect for you to use the programs.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Use them daily.
So in a way, yeah, okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never think of Design Standard, but I think Design Standard has everything for print and not for web, which is right here. And I don't know how much that costs. That's probably like $200 and something. Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Acrobat Professional. If you have that, you've got it made. So that's the lesser version. The only reason I go to the premium is I find that most people who are in this program end up taking a web class. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't want you to underbuy for yourself and then say, why didn't I buy the right one for that extra $100?
Which is the one that you need for web?
The one that includes web and print is, let me show you again. Let's come back here. I think it's this one. Creative Suite Design and Web Premium.
And the, it's like I might have gotten standard.
Well, standard is fine for this class. It just won't have web for you. And you don't need web for this
What's
class.
the red one called?
Dreamweaver?
Dreamweaver, that's
Dreamweaver, Fireworks. For this class, you'll be fine with a design standard, though.
Are you already using features in extended CS, Photoshop CS6 extended?
Will you be using them? Maybe.
No,
It depends on how far you go.
Oh.
The point is that Michael's question is, he said, will I make you use Photoshop Extended? No, I mean, that's in essence what you're asking.
Is that a bad question?
No, it's great. Every question's a great question. And the answer is, depending on your project, I don't know what aspects of that software you're going to apply to your project.
Because there's like an extended where they don't have, in extended they have the 3D thing, which they don't have in the other ones. So
3D is pretty fun. 3D is pretty fun, but I'm not assigning specifically a 3D project. You might just decide that's what you like doing. Okay? So that answered your software question. Yes? Okay. Lab hours, we've covered that. Attendance, come to class. All right? If you can't make class, I see ya. If you can't make class, email me, Vicki. I have 117 temperature and I will not come to class because I don't want to get anybody sick. Okay? Let me know. I worry about you. I expect you to be here. I appreciate your presence. So email me and let me know if you can't make it.
If we tell them that we're your student, will they let us in before 10? Do you think at the deck, or is that just before
Maybe.
they actually open?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay,
You know, if, maybe. I don't know.
it's worth asking.
You just smile nicely and
Bring donuts.
bring donuts. No, actually, they would not let you in with donuts, so don't. Do you have another question?
Bring them yourself.
Okay. Here's a book that was recommended. We used to use that as mandatory. It's 2D design, 2D visual basics, which helps you take your concept from two-dimensional art and bring it digital, which is essentially what we're doing in this class. You can buy it if you wish to, but like I said earlier, everything is a resource for you. Everything, everywhere. So whatever gets your juices flowing, keep it nearby.
As far as books, do you recommend the tutorials that Adobe puts out? Because they sell those in the bookstore, like for Photoshop and Illustrator.
Tutorial books, you mean?
Yeah, it has it's the books they print, and they have like a CD in the back with the.
Yeah, if you want, but you're going to be awfully busy. You're going to be awfully busy figuring out what you want your project to be. That's going to exhaust you if you have to do that book too. That's a whole class in a
But you're
book.
not going to do anything from that.
I won't do anything from those. No. I won't do anything from a. Michael's question was, do you need to buy the Adobe tutorial books? Not necessarily. Everything's on the web. Lynda.com, Lynda. Anybody not heard of Lynda.com?
Which is a sponsor.
Lynda.com, Lynda. Free videos on all the software we're talking about. Amazing, wonderful little 10-minute, 5-minute videos on a skill you might be looking at. Some of them are free. Once you get into more sophisticated stuff, it's not free, and then it's a $25 a month subscription. But there, you know, if you Google something, a specific question, it's on Google. It really is. Everybody's got everything on Google. And then, to top it off, John has all those archived videos for us. Wonderful, John. Of all the classes and all the tutorials that we've done in the past. And you have access to them. And I'll show you on the home page. Let me just go back to the home page right here. Videos from the past from John. We have them archived. I'm working on indexing. John's working on indexing them. If anybody wants to help us index a video from today, for example, I'll bring you a cookie. How's that? That's good. When you're in low blood sugar mode, you guys might appreciate it, right? No extra credit in this class because you just got too much to do already. But for example, right here, that's the lecture at the end of the semester, last semester. It's uploaded to YouTube. And John and I are creating a more specific index. And actually, spooling. Oh, and you made a title.
We launched InDesign, and I'll just try and wing this so you can get the idea.
It's wonderful.
So you can poke around through those endlessly, okay? And, you know, you could just have Vicky Torf 24/7, really. Did you have a question?
Well, I also knew that there's some, like, well, for Photoshop, I know that my videos like Chris Warwick look pretty good.
Chris Warwick.
Yeah.
I would love for you to post that on the Q&A for us because that would be great.
Like, I also know the teacher, so I'm pretty sure I could, like, I know a few Photoshop teachers and other teachers over their groups, so I'm pretty sure I could, like,
Get access?
get access and or suggestions where I could find more videos.
That'd be awesome. We would appreciate you posting those on the forum. That would be terrific. Thank you. That's great. That's great. There are lots of resources out there. You know, I am not the final word on anything. And what you'll come to learn is there's not a way in the world that any of us knows everything about all these softwares. There's corners of those software worlds that I just don't even know to go to yet. And you probably do. Because we're all going to find our little places that we love working in. Let's see where else we are.
They don't answer questions.
No, they don't answer questions. And however, the videos from my classes are this dialogue. So you're going to hear it all, you know. Actually, if you go back to my 111 class, you get to hear all about Diamond, the Pitbull, who came to class.
Can you get the trial versions first? Can you get the trial as a package with different programs, or do you have to take them
One at a time.
Oh.
Can you get the trial versions as a package? I think you load them one at a time. They take a long time to download. Like you're going to have to go to sleep while it's downloading. It takes a long time. It does. Let me see what else I've got going on here. Let me show you an example of an exercise and an example of an assignment. Would that be good?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Alrighty. Let's start with an exercise. Let's start with your first exercise. Right here. So the classes are arranged. So here we are. Let's scroll back here. So if you want to jump to a different week of the class, you can go to section links on the left. If you want to just look at activities, like all the assignments you have in front of you for the rest of the semester and all the deadlines, I clicked on the activities link and here they are. So I define projects as assignments. Those are the big, heavy weighted ones, 65% of your grade. And then I define exercises as exercises. And that's the get a 0 or get 100%. Don't miss these. These are like giveaway grades. These are giveaway 100% grades. I rarely get students who don't get 100% on these because it's extremely clear on what you have to accomplish.
I would think it would be empowering.
Yes.
Can you say it?
hopefully
You feel empowered because you learn the skills.
that's hopefully exactly what the point is.
Well,
It
we don't
is.
have forums either, so it's easier. I mean, like my class I took last semester, we had forums, we had discussions, we had like 5 things we had to do in 1 week. So there's really only
This is your forum.
2 things.
This is your forum where we get to share ideas. So let's see, your first exercise is this. Here's an example. Again, if it doesn't look like it's there, it's because you haven't clicked on it. Okay? So here's your first exercise. I call this, your do or die, nothing at all. 100 points or nothing at all. It should be a 10-minute exercise. There's a 5-minute video right here. So instructions. How explicit is this, right? Explore Kueller. Click on Kueller. Look how cool. Is anybody who is not familiar with Kueller? You're going to love Kueller. It's got music. All right. So this is Kueller's introduction. It tells you what to do. Play intro. Let's play intro. Aren't you excited already? You get the idea, right? All right. So Kueller is a website. Show me how. Let's go to Kueller. Obviously, you can go to all of these, and it'll walk you through Kueller. But you can also go to Vicky's Kueller video. Vicky, 24/7. And this is done in Screencast-O-Matic. No, this is done in Jing, which is a previous video capture that I used to work with. I don't use with Jing anymore. And it's me telling you how to work the software called Kueller, which is at the website kueller.adobe.com, I believe. So you'll see, here's an example of one of my videos. This quick little video is going to introduce you to kueller.adobe.com. And I want to show you right off the bat that I have an account set up with them using my email and a password, which will come in handy later when I want to save color swatches. Kueller is an Adobe website that helps you save digital color swatches for print and for web that you can import into Photoshop. Okay, enough of Vicky. So there's a video here, and then you create an account to Kueller right here. So you will have watched the video so you get how Kueller works. You'll create an account. This will take you to the Kueller homepage, not the how do you use me, but the page that loads all the tools, Kueller tools. And you'll learn how to work with Kueller because you're going to be working a lot in color. And what Kueller gives you when you create a color in Kueller, you're going to be able to create swatches with it. You're going to be able to create color formulas for web and for print and for video, and it's going to give you all the breakdowns. And you're going to have fun, truthfully. You're just going to get obsessed with color. So you have lots of assignments that focus on color parameters, and here's one of the places you might start to get your color concepts down and play with them before you start going on the computer and playing with things. You can bring in color swatches from Kueller. So here's the link to Kueller. Oops, lost the page. And then what you do is now you know how to use Kueller. Now you know how to create Kueller swatches. Then I give you an Adobe Illustrator file, right? Looks like that, except it's different. And you download, after using Kueller, you download the Illustrator file. So that means you click on that. And then you double click to decompress it, unzip it. Is there anybody who doesn't know how to unzip a file? Okay, I'll demo it for you. I'm not going to do it today. I'm just walking you through this stuff. You unzip the file, and then you essentially recolor the file because you've already watched the video and change your color swatches. And you have to read this very specifically because it says here that you download the illustration and then you save the illustration. And And it tells you to do it in Photoshop or Illustrator. I want you just to do it in Photoshop. And then you're going to take an image capture of your Keeler page, which is how you show a lot of your work, which I'll teach you in a minute. And you're going to turn in a 2-page document as a PDF file, which is going to show how you recolored the assignment using Illustrator, right? We gave you art. You recolor the art using the Keeler you learned how to use. It should take you, once you've watched the video, it really should take you 5 minutes. Click on a shape, color. Click on a shape, color. Save it, done. That's really what it is.
By image shot, you mean screenshot?
Yeah, by image shot I mean screenshot, yes. And then you're going to learn how to package it. You're going to learn a workflow, and you're going to submit a PDF file of your assignment. And that's an example of one of your exercises. There's, let's show you a more fun exercise, just because I'm having a good time. I like this exercise. Andy Warhol. You're going to learn to do that. Fun, right? So that's super easy. The artwork's created for you, the graphics are created for you, the layout's created for you. All you have to do is in InDesign, learn how to click on an image, make it appear. Click on an image, make it appear. One of my students, some of my students said, I should have brought the interactive exercises earlier in the semester, because your portfolio is all interactive. It's not printed. So feel free to do these whenever you want. They kind of build on one another, so don't jump the gun too much. Just do them in sequence.
Is InDesign the software used for print as well? I mean, did it take
Yes.
the place of PageMaker?
Oh, yes. InDesign took the place of PageMaker and Quark. And
I'm
Quark.
dating myself, right?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's nice, but I'm old enough to know.
Oh. But it was a serious question.
Yes, yes, it did. Here's an example of of your second project, different than a do-or-die assignment. This is called digital painting. And the parameters for digital painting are you're going to create essentially a triptych of images, 3 images, that one is one set of color palettes, tones and shades of one color. A second image is tones and shades of another color. And then the third graphic is a combination of those 2 color palettes together. So what you're able to do is pick a software, Illustrator or Photoshop, learn how to manipulate color, and learn how to work with 2 colors to create a larger variety of color. Okay? And what you're looking at is samples of student work. So the way the projects are is I will give you exercises in your journal, which is 10% of your grade. And that's where you're going to brainstorm your ideas, accumulate images you might want to work with, go around on the internet and capture images that interest you, write brainstorming in your journal, do little thumbnail sketches of your ideas so you understand what you had in mind, make word associations, and accumulate that until you've got the layout you wish to have, and it all is in your journal. You haven't touched the computer. Then, once you have your exercises and your, count them, yes, 15 thumbnail sketches, once you have those sketches, then you start to consider a project. And what you'll notice is here, like if you're really curious, go back to the home page, right here, down here. Here's the digital painting assignment. Actually, for this assignment, here's 2 demos of how to approach this digital painting assignment from previous semesters, which could walk you through it if you were just stuck. It doesn't give you a concept, but it gives you a way to approach it, right? Let me go backwards to the digital painting assignment. So you'll notice that it then tells you what to do for your project. It describes to you how you're creating a monotone color palette, and you start to work with the monotone color palette, and then how you create another image using a secondary color palette, and how you work with brushes and opacity and tints, and I'll demo this. And then you're going to take those 2 color palettes to create your third image. Now this student, her whole portfolio was all about New York. Everything about New York. This student, I don't think at the time she had honed in on anything. This student, Sketch, was a beautiful artist, and so sketching was second nature to her. And she sketched that complete illustration in her journal, scanned her sketch, brought it into Photoshop, refined it, and then worked on it for her color. And if you click on everything, get the theme here, everything will bring you a world of surprises, such as her narrative. You don't need to read her narrative. You can read it on your computer at home. But you'll see that with every assignment, there are, let me go to the bottom of the page, there is grading evaluation checklist. First off, there is, which must be submitted with every assignment, something called an evaluation checklist. And the evaluation checklist is designed to help you think through how to work on your project. So did you, I can't even read this right here, how did you work through your process? Did you methodically work through your process? How did you develop your concept? What graphic design elements and graphic design principles did you use? Did you use them? Yes, no, didn't apply. And you answer this so you're sure that you've considered your workflow for each of your projects. It's for you. It's a self-assessment. But in order for me to even grade your work or John to grade your work, you must submit that. Without that, I won't grade your work. Second page. Then here's what you get graded on. Let me make this bigger because I know you can't see that. Remember how I said there's a path to success in this class? The path to success in this class is that you're sure to accomplish everything. Every project, you need to show your brainstorming. So tell me your name again.
Chris.
Chris. So Chris asked the question, what do you do with your journal? You make sure to have your journal pages included in your brainstorming process. That's 10% of your grade. Then, as you take your concept and you start to develop it on the computer, in whatever software you work in, you're going to take screen captures of the computer as you're working. Or you're going to also save your files as work in progress, which I'll talk to you about. And that's 10% of your grade. If you don't have those 2 things included in your assignment that gets uploaded, you can't get better now than an 80% if you don't include them, right? You're getting the idea here, right? Then you have a final presentation. Your final presentation is after I've seen your entire digital development as your project unfolds and you've captured your process. You'll have your final, what I call your ta-da, when you present your final finished project, your final composition that you're satisfied and proud of. And that would be submitted both digitally, and that project will be printed out and we'll critique it in class. Yeah, Michael?
Having coming from the real world, is your objective to train people to be able to show different stages of their work as you would show a client? Is that what your objective is?
I have many objectives. Did you hear Michael back there, guys? Chris?
Is that a dumb question?
No, it's not a dumb question. No. No question is dumb.
Stop it.
No. So Michael said, is my goal to work you through the process of the real world? Well, there's no question about being able to articulate your work. I also find that if you're accustomed to articulating your work, discussing how you came up with your concept, actually thinking through a concept instead of just grabbing something, instead of stealing something from the internet, changing the color and slapping them up there because you think you're submitting an assignment. I want you to think through the process of what's authentic to you, what do you wish to authentically communicate, what might your focus be? Do you know?
My focus right now, well, it's music, promoting artists.
Okay. So for Michael, promoting creativity, music, fine art, visual art, right?
Right.
Okay. Promoting yourself as that or promoting others?
Myself and others.
Okay. So promoting the arts. So his voice is going to be, you might have to hone in on it, but promoting the arts. So creating a voice to creativity. The value, the power of music, creativity, and so forth, right?
Right.
How it transforms community.
It does. Society.
Society. Oh, you're going to love my first writing project. Okay, so that might be your focus. So your brainstorming will be around that until you come up with your concept. And yes, being able to articulate your process, I think, is incredibly important. But also being thoughtful. My goal is to help you articulate your process, understand what you're doing to elevate your graphic. I think a lot of us intuitively create things and know when it looks good, when you move the type here, you put the color there, you shift things or scale things up or reduce them, to have an awareness around it. That's my goal. And the other part for the final solution is to have polish and pride about how you present your work, and to put it up there and feel proud that when you talk about it, you know that you've put all this effort in it, and you can articulate what you've done. And then finally, the last 10% of your grade, so 70 points would be your final presentation, and the journey that got you there. And then your final 10% of your grade would be your design narrative, where you'd start to reflect back on the design principles and elements and the software application you used and the new skills you used and how you got from point A to point B. And that would be another 10% of your grade. So if you didn't include your narrative, you didn't include your brainstorming, and you didn't include your design, but just your final project, you couldn't ever get better than 70%. And if your final project wasn't that well thought out or planned or articulated in its final presentation, then you're below 70% and you're just not cutting it, right? So it helps you see your path to success. Your path to success in this class, much of it is your process. Is that clear for everybody?
Definitely.
What's that?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, good. Definitely. All right, so you would submit this part of your evaluation form. And so here's a student and her process. And you can obviously look at this. She did brainstorming on the internet about potato bugs and William Morris art and Art Deco art and Art Nouveau art. And then she started sketching her thumbnails and brainstorming different layouts and flows, and drew, and then researched the flowers she wanted to represent by Googling flowers and then drawing them. She's really an exceptional artist. And, not all of us start at this place. So you start where you are, right? That's the best place to start. And then she considered different layouts. My triptych doesn't have to be rectangular. It doesn't have to be wide. It could be tall. It doesn't have to be square. It could be triangular. And she started developing and refining her concepts, and she's showing you the process. She went to Kuhler and captured 2 monochromatic color palettes, and then started to refine the work by scanning the artwork, recoloring it in Photoshop, and then starting to add color in Photoshop until she started to develop the work to her final ta-da presentation. Okay? And you'll start to look through these, and all of these, like I said, you can look through all of them and look at everybody's process, and everybody has a different way. But that's an example of a project. Okay? They all vary tremendously.
So you don't start when you do your first thing like this. With your final portfolio, do you have to know just from the beginning what everything is going to be about? Does everything have to be like related?
So Teresa's question was, when you start your first project, do you know what everything's going to be about in your portfolio? I leave that to you. I try to guide you there. I found that most students who develop their portfolio, I don't want to say it's develop their portfolio, it's probably the wrong way to describe it. I find that most students who start to define their, and I keep referring to this, who start to define their authentic self. What are you about? So Miriam, can I use you as an example? Okay. So last semester, Miriam took my class, and she did a process book, which was her final capstone project for the class. And she's all about raves. She's about music and fashion. Yeah? Is that a good description for you? Okay. So her final process book was about the event, the build up to the event, and how she prepped for the rave event, and then what she designed to wear at the rave event. Did I say that okay? Yeah. Okay. And I don't know what you might choose this semester to be the focus of your portfolio, but she created this final project that every facet of it was a different rave, a different fashion, a different design, a different focus. But what was cohesive about it was about the music, the experience, the friends, the community. It's about community, right? And how that was one focus. All of her art in it wasn't the same. It varied for event to event. Another student decided his whole semester of work, he divided, this was very unique. I'll show you his final portfolio. I'll upload it. I don't think I did. Let me see if I can find it. Is this useful for you guys? Yeah? Let me see. Here's your final portfolio. Interactive portfolios. No, I haven't uploaded it yet. I don't want to digress to this. This student, for example, all of her work was, well, I'll show you. So this student's work is overpowering the screen. I got to change the screen size. But this student's work essentially was all about architecture and design. And so she created all these graphics. They're original. She had never used any of the software before, none, zero. And she created this environment by learning how to use the software. This was created in Illustrator. The final portfolio was created in InDesign. And here's her portfolio for her project. So she started the project I just showed you, the digital painting project. This is her digital painting project. And here's 1, 2, 3 of her elements of the project.
That chair is in the museum.
And she drew them, each one, original.
The
Ames chair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she,
dating myself again.
well, they're pretty hip. So anyway, so she drew all those after doing 2 exercises, right? Learning Illustrator. Actually, 3 exercises would get her to this place. And learning Kueller, and that's how she arrived at that project. So each of these are representations of her different projects.
She has really cool style.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful style, but it's unique to her. Mm-hmm. Right, so her style was about furniture. Everything had to do with an environment and furnishings. And so...
Well, just her points of perspective and then
yeah.
Plus that song she picked.
Yeah.
There was an interview of Jimmy Page, I don't know if people know who Jimmy Page is, but he was in his home and he was talking about guitar players and he pulled out that song and he was talking about the guitar part. That's like his favorite song.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
really? There you go.
You know who Jimmy Page is?
No, I'm musically challenged.
You don't know who Jimmy Page is?
I don't. I'm serious. I told you. I already told you I have flaws. Now I know who Led Zeppelin is. I don't know Jimmy Page's name though. See, I've told you I have flaws.
Actually, they just got a. I didn't know they gave it to Brits, but they got a Kennedy's Honors Award.
Yes, I saw that actually. Did you guys follow all this? Led Zeppelin. You guys know Led Zeppelin, yeah? Okay. I mean, that's way back in history in the olden days.
If it wasn't for Led Zeppelin, you wouldn't have
music the way you have it.
You wouldn't have Jack White and the White Stripes, and you wouldn't have the Black Keys.
See, exactly what I would have said.
Those guys are definitely. Anyway.
Thank you. So you see, music is your thing. That's going to be your thing.
Really.
There you go.
Just some trivia.
There your trivia. Okay. So here we go. Now there also, I do want to emphasize on all the Q&As, this class has been taught online, which means you don't get me standing up here. And because of that, students post on the forum that you're not so crazy about.
I'm fine with forums.
Okay.
What class is taught online?
This one is also taught online, and there's a Q&A that I have on every assignment page. And these are all the questions that students ask me, such as, how do I create a color palette? What resolution do I work with in Photoshop? One person posted, I'm confused. Huh?
Not teaching it online this semester.
I'm not teaching online this semester. And so if you have a question, go to the Q&A. The good thing about the Q&A, okay, this is me responding. Let's be clear here, okay? You're confused. When you create a composition, stay away from 8.5 by 11. How boring is that? The printers here are 11 by 17. Doesn't mean you have to be 11 by 17. Maybe you're 17 inches by 4.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
a banner.
It's a something. But if you want to print it here for free, consider what you have to work with. What's the format, right? You also don't have to create a triptych. This student drew horses and then found a different way to colorize using the colors and blending, right?
Is that like a Warhol influence when you do stuff like that?
No, not those guys. But anyway, and then also on all of these Q&As, I have links, lots of links. And I will pull together, I have a lot more links with tutorials for you, but I would always go to the Q&A to see if you can get more resource links for yourself.
I really like how your Moodle set up. There's a lot of examples, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think you need things to kind of get you stirred up or know how people approached it. This student, her portfolio was about patterns. She was a pattern artist, and so her subject matter varied entirely, but it was all as a showcase for her patterns.
Absolutely gorgeous.
They're all pretty beautiful. All right, let's see. I just want to figure out what our last little bit is. So I covered the syllabus, yes? Oh, I do want to talk about two things that are really important. Backing up your work, okay? I cannot begin to tell you how critical it is to back up your work. I also can't begin to tell you that all your work is going to be at print resolution, which means high resolution files, which means working at 300 pixels per inch. Who's not familiar with pixels?
Big font.
Everybody? Okay. So at 300 pixels per inch, at an 11 by 17 format, you're probably talking about a finished, if you're in Photoshop, probably a finished product of at least 100 megabytes. Okay? Because you're doing print quality work. So if you have 5 stages of progression to your work and you save stage 1, stage 2, because you might want to go back to an older version, and you have 5 progressions and it's 100 megabyte files, that's a half a gigabyte for one project. So backing up files and having enough storage room for the work that you do is imperative. There's one project in this class which is about textures where you end up making 32 different textures of high resolution files. 32 times, I don't know, let's say 50. Let's say 30. I don't know, what's the math? That's a gigabyte, right? It's about a gigabyte. So, so having backup storage is imperative. There is Zythos right here. Is anybody not familiar with Zythos? Okay, Zythos, because you have a pipeline account with a school, you can go to, let's see if I can get there. When you log in to your pipeline account, you will have access to Zythos. You have to go in through your pipeline account. Let's see, I can't talk and type at the same time. I can't read with these either. Okay, when you log into pipeline, I see I got right to Zythos. You'll find something that says file sharing, and then you click on Zythos. And Zythos is a server where you can upload files to store them. It is like an FTP site. Yes. The disadvantage of Zythos is when you stop being a student here, you can't access your files again. And what's going to happen is you're going to create beautiful files in this class that you're going to want forever. I promise you. You will.
So you have to take a class forever.
Yeah, exactly. Or you have to take a class forever. But what you're going to want is a different way besides Zythos to back up your files. Yes, John?
There's really no good reason to use Zythos.
John's right.
Well,
John's right.
Storage is really inexpensive now.
Right. External storage like Dropbox, SugarSync, Crash Plan. Somebody else mentioned something else today. All of these sites, you can get free storage. Is anybody not familiar with something like Dropbox or SugarSync? Would you like me to explain it to you? Everybody's familiar with it. Okay. Then what I want to say is find 2 ways to store your files, all of them. Either, and if you're transporting them from campus, transport them on a flash drive. Upload them to Dropbox or SugarSync or CrashPlan. Make sure you've backed it up. I had a student at the end of last semester spill coffee on their laptop, and their computer wouldn't work anymore, and so they had to take out their drive, but it was by their final project, and they had done all the work in the class, all of it, and then had 0 access to their work in the class. Terrible. And you know what Vicki said?
So
Can't do anything about it.
more eloquently than that.
Yes, exactly. I was very eloquent. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't think of anything more horrible.
With all the years I've had a computer and people have set drinks next to my computer, everyone's always said, I never spill. That's what they always say.
Right. And, you know, it happens to the best of us, unfortunately. So I really do emphasize that you're very conscientious about backup. Okay, and that being said, hang on a sec. That being said, I also want you to be equally conscientious about how you organize your files. Some of us don't make our beds. Some of us have messy kitchens and never wash our dishes. But on our computer, I really recommend that you make a folder for media design, and I recommend you make a per project folder. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have a project, and you're going to have a scan or a photo or something of your thumbnail pages, and then you're going to have a working file and 3 or 4 different versions of the working file, and then you're going to have your final composition, and then you're going to have your InDesign document where you place all your graphics and your narrative and your thumbnails and your digital process and all your screen captures and everything. And so if you keep them all in one folder for one project, you'll know where to locate everything. Okay? So I do recommend that. Now, is there anybody in here who doesn't know how to take a folder and compress it or zip it up? Okay, let me show you. So on the computers here in class, there's a work folder where most of the stuff is stored. And I'm going to open this folder that I have here in class. It's really messy, isn't it? Okay, so I have a class called Graphic Design Basics, GDP 111. It's right down there. And in that folder, I have different project folders, and each project folder has subfolders. If I wanted to take this Project 3 folder and compress it, all I would have to do on a Macintosh is click on it while I was in the operating system for a Mac, which is called Finder. Make it active by clicking on it. Everything in the folder, which is that folder with all these files inside them, I would just go to File, and I would compress it. And it ultimately creates the same folder with all the contents zipped up into one file. So when you upload something to all those storage places, you can upload your one compressed file. How you decompress it is you double click, it opens it, and here's my folder again, unzipped with all of its contents singly. Has nothing to do with Photoshop whatsoever. On a PC, John will be happy to tell you how to do that.
You download a zip utility from download.com.
From download.com, there's a zip utility if you have a PC. So you can create a folder and zip up the folder.
Or you can select a bunch of files and zip them in.
Right.
You
And
said
you can-
wanted them zipped before we upload them to Moodle?
I do not want any of your files. The only thing you will ever
Or you
submit
just
to
do more
Moodle,
screenshots and stuff.
I want a single PDF file. And I'm not going to show you that today. I'm going to show you that on Wednesday, how to do all that and build your files. Because your brain's probably already tired, right? Yeah. So I will continue to demo things. So what you do need to have prepared for Wednesday, you do need to have your journal. You do need to have brainstorming about what you think your orientation is for the class. And you also might want to get online and start just looking around the website as thoroughly as possible. I'm not sure that I have overlooked anything for the moment. Are there any questions about what I covered? I know it was a lot of information. Don't underestimate the amount of time required for the class. So if you have a heavy school load and you think that you don't have the right time commitment for this and your grades are important to you, consider long and hard whether it's the appropriate class for you. Okay? Just want you to be aware of that. Are there any questions about any of it? Yeah.
I was just curious, for the suite, Adobe Suite, how much RAM do you suggest?
Oh my heavens, I have no idea. I don't know.
It
Do
says
you have a
on
relatively new computer?
A couple years.
Okay, you know, and who you started to say,
I was just gonna
Crystal?
say, it says on the website,
Oh,
you
it
just have to
does.
look at the requirements.
Right.
and it'll
They'll
tell
give you the requirements, which will be the minimum amount of RAM, the minimum.
Okay.
And if you meet the minimum, you'll be fine in operating the computer. I mean, you'll be fine operating the software. But, you know, the more the merrier. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So, actually, I'm talking out the class.
Sure. I think everybody will have the same question you will.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. And if you are not enrolled in the class, what I will do right now, because I am not sure how many students will drop, but if you're not enrolled in the class, come on up. I'll put your name on the waiting list, and then Wednesday we'll see who doesn't show up. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I knew when I was walking by you, I thought you were.
Oh,